Hey, how's it going? I was just trying to fix the settings on my tablet here, my Samsung tablet. I got the bagels coming out of the oven, so we're gonna bring them over here, and I'm gonna set them here. I gotta get out this thing, so that way I don't get the butter and stuff on. Gotta get the hot pads, and I got some cream cheese. Basically, hopefully this doesn't make me too sick. Gotta get a plate, and I'm just gonna go get a soda real quick. Basically, just gonna get a plate, and I put the bagels on here. They're a little bit more dense than I'm used to. A little bit of cream cheese on the side of here. I tried to call my daughter, but she wasn't there. So I was watching Twitch, they were in Las Vegas, and then as soon as I got on, it was late in the night, 2:30, 3 in the morning. So I keep thinking it's going to be winter. I keep thinking it's going into winter, but it's not. It's going into summer here. I'll add the cream cheese. The idea was maybe, as soon as I started this, I was like, well, what else am I going to watch at the same time? I was like, I'll turn on my parents' TV, and then I'm like, what should I say? Like, I'm stealing my parents' cable television or whatever. But then I realized I'm just going to wake up. It's not really stealing my cable. I'm just here watching whatever, but like, I'll wake my mom up. She'll come out here, and then she's going to be on the stream. She'll be in her bathrobe. It'll be like... So... I'm going to grind some nuts. I did this the other day, but the nuts don't always agree with me. There's this really old nut grinder. It's just something old from the 70s or the 60s. It's metal construction, okay? And it's basically a working, hand-working machine. And it actually works really well. You grind the nuts, you put a little bit of nuts in here. They grind down into here, and then you basically have mixed nuts, which I put on ice cream or whatever else. So I'm going to show you that right now. Sometimes the nuts don't always agree with me if you're able to eat nuts or if you're not able to eat nuts. But we buy nuts in such large quantities. What I want to show you is a small amount of nuts, right? This is about one portion of nuts go in here. They grind quite big in the bottom, and that's basically all you need. So sometimes when you hear people who are real health enthusiasts talking about, 12 almonds or 14 almonds or 15 almonds, models that do the health recovery, the light eating, stuff like that, just one or two nuts or something like that. What I'll show you is that when you grind the nuts in a grinder like this, you actually get quite a bit of nuts in the bottom, and you don't need to have those entire nuts. So I'm going to see if I'm going to do mixed nuts or cashews. I'm not really sure. I did almonds. We got these little snack size almonds. I put them in here and it ended up working really good. So I'm going to try to show that to you now because it's kind of a fun thing to do. you may want to do is if you don't want fully salted, because when you grind a lot of these nuts, it's the same thing as crunching up a bunch of chips. They end up having a high salt, which is fine. You can eat high salt. So what we have here is we got Costco cashews and mixed nuts. And I'll show in a bowl. I'm basically just going to take about 1 spoonful of each because I want a little bit of the mixed nuts. This has cashews, almonds, pecans, Brazil nuts, and macadamia nuts. So, and we're just going to try this. I think I could do it with almonds. Almonds are actually the best. But I'm actually going to see if we have almonds, because sometimes almonds just taste the best. Can't actually find almonds right now. So what we will do is we're just going to do a lot of this stuff that was in the 60s or 70s had cool little paintings on it, right? Like just painting on metal, however they put that on there. It looks, over time, it looks like it's a little bit of a label type thing, but permanently put on there, right? Not like a plastic peelable label. These labels, they would stay on there for quite a while. They almost look like a needle tattoo that we used, that kids use today. So let's get a spoonful of extra fancy mixed nuts. I can take the lid off, and hopefully the safety seal's been removed. It hasn't been removed. So what I'm going to do is not actually open the box, because when you stay at home, and if your mom buys stuff at Costco or any other wholesale place, you end up with a lot of extra. If I open both, the air seal, everything, some of these nuts will eventually go bad. So it's just going to be cashews. I wanted almonds, but I couldn't find them. So we'll get 1, 2, we'll do 3. 3 spoonfuls. So it's a little more than 10 or 15 nuts. I'm not going to actually count the total number of nuts, but it's not a measuring spoon. It's just a regular spoon. And this is, I don't know if you can see, it just basically fills the bottom. So I don't know how many nuts that is. But what we're going to do, we're going to put the nuts in the nut grinder. And we're going to grind them. So I'm left-handed, so you won't see the flour on here. We basically just hold it here and kind of grind around. Well, it's going a little too fast. It's not really what I want. The almonds are tougher to grind. The cashews are a lot easier to grind. And then as this grinder goes down, we just add the next spoonful. And we'll get it almost to the top here. Sometimes if it's overflowed like this, right, they can pop out, as that grinder turns around. And as you can see here, we've got a fair amount of nuts here down in the bottom. It feels like I was grinding some and none was falling. So we're going to go back and just try to see how this goes again. See, I'm getting a lot of loose here. It's not fully feeding down. I'm not really sure why that is. The almond, I didn't have this problem. Is this nut grinder not working? What happened here? I didn't have this problem with the almonds. Why is it not catching? There we go. Cashews are totally different from almonds. Oh, come on. Okay, here we go. Now we're grinding. We're grinding all the cashews. I swear, somehow some of the, 1 or 2 of the cashews is getting removed. This is not the same as the almonds was tougher the entire way through. They all fed down and pushed down. This is getting some free here. Okay, so we got one cashew left. Put the one cashew left and just grind it down. Okay, so this is how much we have. Basically ground cashew right here, okay? This is ground cashew. And then you can put some on whatever you want. I'm actually not going to put any on here because sometimes when I eat nuts, they don't agree with me very much later on. But when you're talking to somebody, that's actually quite a bit of ground, cashew there. You can take a spoonful of this. You unscrew the lid, okay? You unscrew the lid, and then you basically have sort of a spoonful of cashew, ground cashew. It actually looks pretty good. If you were being able to eat a lot of the nuts and cashews, you also get a lot of sort of the smaller stuff. It's almost like a powder down in the bottom. Sort of like a cashew powder, right? So, but you put this on ice cream as a topping or anything like that. It ends up being kind of a good thing and really fun. So, what I'll do is I'm not going to put it on a bagel. I don't really want chopped cashews on a bagel. But basically, just put this here. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about, right? It lasts like 30, 40, maybe 50 years. I don't actually know because if you think 1970. That's 30 to 2000 and 20 to here. That's 51 years, right? So we're talking about an item that just has kept. I don't exactly know how my mom or my parents kept this for so long. The glass hasn't broken. It just ends up being actually a pretty good item that works, right? It is sort of a man-operated machine or a person-operated machine, and it works. So obviously if you have a large family, many kids, right? Somebody's going to end up being grinding longer and longer and longer. You get a guy, a teenager, right? He's, it ends up breaking or whatever. But for the most part, this item has actually worked pretty well. So I'm going to have more bagel. My mom put a little web camera up there. It's kind of good. Sometimes you can see who manufactured this stuff. If there's a, oh, let's see. There's a patent on it. There's a patent number, but I can see if there's a manufacturer on this. There's not. I can tell. But the one thing I can tell that used to be different about older products is that a wood item, a lot of times the items that we have now, it's like this wood, right? It's red, right? But it's not, it appears as if whatever coloring it is in the wood soaks into the wood, as opposed to being like an acrylic cover paint, right? A lot of what we have now in wood and stuff that paints, right? When I was growing up, we had items like this, like, the kid blocks or whatever, but the paint would have actually chip, which means it coats the wood. It doesn't soak into the wood. It doesn't become like a red wood item, right? Like, it doesn't appear that this paint can chip or easily chip, right? Which is something kind of sort of subtle and different, right? A lot of the paint now on wood, right? You buy an item or whatever, it just peels off or chips off, right? Because it doesn't become part of the wood. This actually appears like the item, it is wood and it is red. So that's something that's different over time. Whether, manufacturers don't use that type of paint or that process anymore, right? Because it doesn't seem to have that sheer sort of coating, that can peel off or whatever over time. So I can't really read the bottom right there. So my battery's low on this, so I'll end in just a minute. Anyway, I hope you're doing good. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.